We at Game Show Gumbo express our sincere condolences and sympathies to the families of those who have lost their lives during this unprecedented global pandemic. We also offer our sincere thanks and appreciation to all the essential workers who put their lives on the line every day just to keep us fed and safe. It is our goal to keep these videos going to keep you informed and entertained, and maybe for just a moment, all the world's problems can drift away. Let's stick together, everybody. We will get through this.
Welcome to Kid Street.
If you can guess, you'll win. Welcome to the relationship game of the 90s. It's Love Handle.
Welcome to Inside the Box, the game show for TV addicts.
Inside the Box was a TV trivia show that ran for 2 seasons across the global networks and eventually found its way into U.S. syndication. The show was produced by Lone Eagle Entertainment and included Cindy M. Cohen, the creator of The Mad Dash. The host of the show is character actor Sam Kalalea. His hosting is an acquired taste. I found him to be very stiff and felt like he had a tendency to come across as condescending at times, but more on that later. The game itself is essentially a 20 questions variant. 3 contestants play. One player sits inside the box, while both their opponents are seated at podiums on opposite sides of the set. Each round of play lasts for 2 minutes. The player inside the box attempts to solve the identity of a TV series, a name of a TV actor, or a character from a TV show. This contestant asks both of his opponents alternating yes or no questions from a list supplied to them by the show. Both opponents must answer correctly and rely on their own knowledge, as they only see a photo of the subject, and wrong answers will result in a 5-second penalty against them. Once the player inside the box has gathered 5 yes answers, the clock is stopped, and Sam will give them a clue, as well as a free yes. Otherwise, the contestant can call for the clock to be stopped at any time, and try to answer, a wrong answer resulting in a 5-second penalty. The correct answer banks the remaining time on the clock, which will be added to their score. After each round, the players rotate, so that each contestant gets to be inside the box twice. Whoever has made the most time after the final round wins the game and goes on to the winner's round. The scoring system is pretty flawed. Whenever a wrong answer is given, Sam has to take a few seconds to explain the rules, which costs the player inside the box time as well. So really, it's player 3 who benefits the most from that situation, which makes me think playing to a set number of questions and points would have been a lot more fair. Under this time system, an early solve also decides the game pretty much every time and kills any suspense, since there were several anticlimactic games over the show's run. There were also several games where no identities were solved whatsoever, and all 3 contestants finished with negative scores. So we don't really have a winner in that situation, just a player who was less bad than the others. And that's just awkward. Early solves also expose one of Sam's biggest weaknesses in his hosting. To fill the time, Sam will vamp by chatting with the contestant about the subject matter. But he does so in such an annoying, know-it-all way. He really comes across as condescending. And it just makes the entire situation very unwatchable, and making us all bang just get back to the game. In the winner's round, the winning contestant attempts to win as much as $10,000 by solving one last subject. This time the contestant plays against Sam, who will always give a correct answer to their yes or no questions. Like before, 5 yeses earns a clue. This time, however, the clock never stops, and the contestant is limited to 3 yeses, which seems kind of silly because they very rarely take more than 3 yeses anyway. Using up all 3 yeses results in an automatic loss. The biggest catch is that the money counts down as the game goes on, at a rate of $500 every 6 seconds. The faster a solve, the more money they win. Failing to solve sends the player home with the house minimum of $500. Ultimately, it breaks commandment number 4 of the game show commandments. Thou shalt not overplug a top prize that's pretty much impossible to win. And since the final round subjects tend to border on obscure, you'd have to be pretty lucky to win even half that. Although $5,000-$6,000 is still decent prize money by Canadian standards, it's an instant buzzkill in the bonus round, knowing that the $10,000 prize that Sam's been hyping all show is not going to be won. In season, a number of changes were made, mostly to the presentation, with the set going through a makeover and the theme music being remixed. The show opted to borrow Wheel of Fortune's failed Friday Finals format. Under this format, the 3 biggest winners from Monday to Thursday returned to play each other on Friday. It didn't work on Wheel, it didn't work here. And Sam also spent some episodes of the season plugging a winner's tournament, claiming that the winner could pocket up to $20,000. I can't find any information on that, so I have no idea if the tournament ever even happened. Later episodes of the show did see the top prize being bumped up to $15,000, with $750 docked every 6 seconds, and the house minimum increased to $750. But by this point it was too late, and the show was not renewed for a 3rd season. Inside the Box did manage to stumble its way into a few syndication markets into the United States, mainly because another show blew it. In 2007, the legendary Merv Griffin launched his final game show, Merv Griffin's Crosswords, with the show debuting shortly after his death. It was an okay show, despite some robotic hosting by Ty Treadway and a low budget, but it failed to draw an audience, finishing the first season with only an average rating of 0.8 in the Nielsen's and peaking in the 1s. To put things in perspective, that's about what the 2001 version of Card Sharks was drawing, and it was only slightly better than Temptation. But despite the low ratings, the show was renewed and a 2nd season was planned. But Program Partners, the company that co-produced the show with Merv Griffin Enterprises, announced they were putting the show on hiatus because of budget issues. So in lieu of a 2nd season, stations who committed to Merv Griffin's Crosswords were offered either a reruns package of Crosswords, a makeover show from Canada called Style by Jury, or the 2nd season of Inside the Box. No one took Style by Jury, and with good reason. That show sucked. Some took the reruns package, and some took Inside the Box, while the rest moved on. Inside the Box was largely relegated to the late night time slots in the US, and never really found an audience. So really, it wasn't given much of a chance. Next time on the Game Show Canada, we'll be stopping off in Quebec and talking about a trivia and strategy game that I think is really a hidden gem. It's called Ultimatum. Hope to see you then. Stay safe, everybody. And until next time on the Game Show Canada, long may your big jib draw. Become a Patreon backer at www.patreon.com/GameShowGumbo or check out our website www.gameshowgumbo.com. This has been an Impressive production.